Hello, this is Fraser Hines here in Haven Holiday Camp in Pwllheli in Wales. I played Jamie in Doctor Who, and welcome to all listening from the Nerd versus the World.
Marvellous. Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome back to NerdVsWorld, Episode 8, Wrath of the Nerds. I'm Brendan.
I'm Spindles.
And I'm Adi.
Well then, gentlemen.
It's been discussing our various bad diets.
Yeah. Pot noodles being the cornerstone of any healthy, nutritious diet.
It all sounds a bit apocalypse food lying in a box somewhere.
Yeah. We do. We have a box of it somewhere.
Yeah. Pot noodles and cockroaches.
The only things guaranteed to survive it.
Yeah.
Twinkies.
Twinkies, yeah.
There is a British company who's actually bought out the rights, because you know it went bust, the company that made Twinkies.
Twinkies went
Yeah,
bust?
did you not know that?
No,
okay,
no.
this is about 2 years ago or something like that. Or
I thought it was more recent than
more
that.
recently. But a British company's bought them out and are selling them. So the person who bought that $500 Twinkie, because it was the last one ever off production, haha, we have them now.
Somebody spent $500 on a Twinkie.
Yeah, because it was the last one ever off
Good
production.
God.
That's insane.
And
It's actually a handy segue, though.
Handy segue?
Yeah, because we go from Twinkies to Zombieland.
Of course,
Again,
yes.
that's-
Search for the Twinkie in Zombieland. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd think this shit was scripted, folks.
No,
It really wasn't.
we're just that good.
Yeah, well, we've had some new TV.
There's new pilots coming
Yeah.
out. It's been quite cool. It's brilliant because people are doing what we were talking about on the podcast like months ago.
Yeah,
Indeed.
back in about episode 3 and 4.
Yeah, they're doing that, and people like Netflix and Love Film are going, here, have a bunch of new shows and decide which ones you want to make.
Yay!
I mean,
That's very cool.
I caught 2 of the Love Film shows.
Right.
So I caught Zombieland and I caught Beaters, or Betas, however you want to say it. Now Zombieland carries straight on from the film. It's like 2 months later, same characters, different actors.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, was always going to struggle.
Yeah, I thought it
Yes.
struggled. I watched that this afternoon, the Zombieland pilot, and it was all right, but I think they tried too much to condense the same stuff from the films into the pilot. It was all like the same rules things, and they kept going on about his rules for surviving Zombieland, and it was. I mean, the flashback bit at the start was amusing.
Yeah.
That was probably the highlight of the episode for me.
Yeah, I felt it tried very hard to be funny. And it had the one joke that they kept replaying, which towards the end, when Tallahassee finally lost his shit in the warehouse, I did actually think that was kind of getting towards funny. Yeah. Didn't think it was terrible.
No, I didn't think
definitely
it was terrible
watchable
at all. It just depends where they're going to go with it from now, because it seems to have set up we're going to travel however many thousand miles across America to get to New York from LA. That seems to be
but
the
they're
plan.
going to Detroit first, aren't they?
Are they?
They're going to Detroit to meet the woman who is in the in the car they have that
The sat-nav box
the sat-nav box
yeah.
thing. Yeah, they're going to meet Detroit.
Yeah, I didn't get that. That was an actual person.
Yeah. I was thinking, how is that working?
Yeah. I was like, how does that work? How does this person know that there are alive people in different... See, I thought it was just some kind of mad joke thing that I was missing.
No, apparently it's one of those breakdown assist networks they have in the States. Yeah. So it's the operator of the breakdown assistance.
Yeah, it works on a GPS in the car.
Mm.
So if the car's mobile, they know there's somebody driving it. And
following the naming convention of Zombieland, she's called Detroit because that's where she's from. And she knows where other survivors are. So she spends time guiding Tallahassee and co to new survivors with humorous
consequences.
Rabbit ears consequences. Yeah. It's worth a watch. Make your own mind up on it, I think.
It was okay for a half-hour kind of comedy. Yeah. It was okay. The proof will tell if it goes on to even get made, because I don't know what the deal is with Love Film, because I know that they're asking for kind of audience participation in terms of go and give your feedback. So yeah, that's the pilot. So one can assume then that there have been no more made yet.
That's what I'm assuming. Yeah.
So it'll be like what BBC Three did with Being Human and that years ago, where they put the 3 shows out on BBC Three and got you to decide, and then commissioned shows off the back of it.
I think there's 6 or 7.
There's 14
Amazon
shows.
originals.
There's 14.
Yeah, but some of them are cartoons for kids.
Some are kids shows. Yeah. Because I've got
got a handy list there.
I have indeed. Yeah, there's one called Alpha House, which is 4 senators living in a house in DC with John Goodman.
That could be quite interesting.
And Bill Murray's got a cameo in it as well, apparently. Onion News Empire.
That's just the Onion Network, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's behind the scenes type thing. It's not an actual. So it is a comedy. It's not a reality show.
Oh right, okay.
Because it says it's got somebody from Arrested Development as the lead anchor in the show. So it's because the Onion's a satirical news thing anyway. I think it's a satirical comedy based in a not quite real office.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So sounds intriguing.
Well, if it's got any of the Arrested Development cast in it, I'll probably watch it.
Yeah, and then there's a musical comedy called Browsers, with someone from Cheers and Frasier.
Yeah, might be watching that one.
Yeah, Zombieland, animated comedy Dark Minions, written by the Big Bang Theory writer.
Which one, Chuck Lorre?
2 slackers working on, not Chuck Lorre, no, Kevin Sussman.
Okay.
About 2 slackers working on an intergalactic warship, apparently.
Okay, I might give that a shot.
Yeah, that sounds...
Evil Minions comedy animated sounds.
Dark Minions.
Yeah, Dark Minions, it's called. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So I assume they're all available now
Yeah.
on Love Film. So yeah, if you've got Love Film, go and check it out, because this is like the embodiment of all we were talking about.
Yeah.
Of, you know.
The other one is Beaters, which I mentioned earlier, which is essentially the Big Bang Theory, but in Silicon Valley with tech nerds rather than science nerds.
Yeah, right, okay.
And it's very try-hard. If you thought Zombieland was try-hard, this is painfully try-hard.
Okay.
Yeah, I did not enjoy that one at all.
Is there anybody of note in it? Because I think the cast of Zombieland was like nobody I'd ever heard of.
I didn't recognise any of the people in it. But
that seems to be the only downside for me, is I think they've churned out 14 shows and spent very, very little on them at this stage. So I think it might just be them kind of testing the waters and going, look, let's see what we can knock together. But yeah, the cast is no one I've ever heard of in Zombieland, and quite a lot of the other ones. So I don't know. It's a nice step towards what we're talking about of kind of online delivery platforms creating new content.
yeah.
But I think it's still got a way to go yet.
Yeah, but then, as well as that, we've got Sci-Fi and Sci-Fi's new show, Defiance.
Oh, Defiance, yeah.
This I've seen this really split opinion. I think I read 2 reviews of it. I read IO9's review of it, and they were really down on it for some reason. And I read the SFX review, and they kind of liked it. I usually trust IO9, so I watched the show with their review at the back of my mind, and I was just like, I don't get why they were so harsh on it. I really enjoyed Defiance. I loved the pilot.
I'm not sold on it, mate.
Really?
No, I'm really not. It smacks too much of it's trying to be very Farscape, but then it's also trying to be Deadwood, and it's also trying to roll Rome into there for some reason.
I didn't get the Rome. I got the Deadwood.
The political family intrigue between the 2 families, where what's her name? Jamie
Murray. Stammer Tar.
Was
It's the Tar and the Macaulays.
Kind of setting up the marriages of the things, and that was very Rome-esque in the way that we're doing that, of the political jostling with the families.
Well, there's only 2 families, that's the thing.
Well,
it's just the Macaulays and the Tars.
Yeah.
Which IO9 called the Montagues and the Capulets because of the love story between their respective children.
Yeah, the obvious
Romeo
and Juliet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I must admit I wasn't that sold on it. I didn't feel... I came out of it not really caring about any of the characters. I watched it again this afternoon, so I've given it a second watch as well. And the second time through, it hasn't gripped me either. And the only two characters I'm even vaguely interested in coming out of it from there is the black deputy guy, who seems quite cool. Doesn't have a huge part in the pilot, but seems quite an interesting character. And then the top hat goggled guy with the motorbike from the biker gang.
One of the I know the ones you mean, but yeah, the outlaws.
Yeah, they seem quite cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't really care about most of them.
I'm the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
What's to like about the characters?
I like it was Nolan, the chief lawkeeper.
Who's now, he's the Ben Browder of the piece.
Yeah. Well, you say that, but a lot of reviews have been putting on the old Han Solo analogy to him. He's a good-hearted scoundrel, but the way that he was brought into the show, along with Aricia, who's his adopted daughter, felt very much like Jack Carter from Eureka.
Yes, it did. Yeah, it felt like them arriving in Eureka. Yeah.
And I think that made...
Except nowhere near as good as them arriving in Eureka, in my opinion.
I think that started the connection to the show for me. And I think it just has a great cast.
I think the cast is phenomenal. And as I went into it really, really wanting to like it, because the cast is amazing. And the characters sound fantastic. But it just felt like it was trying to be too many different things. I mean, did you see the absolute... carbon copy of the Dargo character wandering around, the dog walker thing with the long beard? It was Dargo.
Yeah, okay, I can kind of see that.
It seems that they've pulled a lot of Farscape in because the Jamie Murray character I felt very Zahn-like.
Okay, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I not necessarily think that's a bad thing, though.
I don't necessarily think... I just think it hasn't gripped me so far. It hasn't really intrigued me. I mean, the kind of 30-second seg at the end of the episode of, there's something a bit deep and sinister going on and what's all this about, that was relatively intriguing. Yeah. But if they'd made more of that, then I would have been a bit more interested. But that seemed to come out of nowhere. It's like they introduced the ex-mayor at the start of the episode, then you didn't see her until the very, very end, and then some other dude who we hadn't seen at all either.
Well, to be honest, that was the bit that stuck with me, because that was that felt like it was tacked on after it had been picked up.
Yes.
The rest of it, you could say that it suffered from pilot syndrome. It has to tell quite a lot in an hour and a half to convince the networks to pick it up for a pilot, which it did.
Yeah.
Some complaints I read were that some of the exposition was very simple and very laid out, straightforward for you, and I agree with that. But I felt that some of the really subtle inter-character relationships were really good. And I thought that Nolan and Aricia were fantastic. I
thought they worked very well as a character. I mean, I love Stephanie Leonidas. I mean, she was in Mirror Mask, and that's an amazing film. And yeah, she's completely unrecognisable in that compared to what she was in Mirror Mask. And I think that the effects, and especially the creature effects, are second to none. I think it looks amazing. It's a wonderfully shiny program, and it's got all the kind of the arc fall stuff. I think it's a genius idea. Where I think because you've not seen it yet, have you?
No, I've not.
The idea is that it's like 40 years after there's been this big war, and there's loads of spaceships that are stuck in the stratosphere, and every now and then one of them gets pulled in and just crash lands, and then it gets scavenged and stuff, and that's called an arc fall, because these ships are just up there rotting in space after this war has finished. And I think that's a really good idea. Yeah. It's nice. You've got all the kind of scavengery types that go out and get them all. And I think they've done a very, very good stab at setting up all the various races. I didn't feel like they gave enough time to some of the races.
Agreed.
Because I think that the TARS, I think they gave a lot of time to... Is it the TARS?
The TARS, yeah. That's the family.
The family, yeah. But they gave a lot of time to that kind of race, and they've got the cool blades and stuff. Yeah. And they're kind of weird slow motion dancing with the 80s people on stage, which I didn't quite get.
It's the future. You have to have weird slow motion dancing.
That's for the Buck Rogers fans.
It was, but it was totally Buck Rogers fans. But then you stick Duran Duran on stage playing something a bit weird. That's what it felt like.
Did you ever watch the Buck Rogers series?
No, yeah, it's the Buck Rogers dancing prop of the week. Oh, it's a shiny ball. Look, dance with the shiny ball.
I think the Indigenes are going to be a good race as well.
Yes, that's the Doctor.
The Doctor,
is the Indigene, yes. I think they're again, the Doctor I thought was quite a good character. She was quite kind of standoffish and amusing. I liked her as a character.
Yeah.
But from what I gather, they're like androids or something, aren't they? Or are they what?
Nah.
It said something because when they found the blood out in the thing, they were saying it's not human blood, it's android blood or something.
Yeah.
So I think that they might be some kind of android, but I didn't quite get that either. But I'm not saying by any means that I'm not going to carry on watching it.
Yeah.
Of course I will, because it's sci-fi. It's on TV, so I will watch it. I wasn't as blown away as I was hoping I would be.
Okay. Well, maybe it's because I went in after reading the IO9 review and I was just like, well, they hated it. Let's see what the deal is. But I didn't. It's not. I wouldn't say it was awesome. It doesn't get 10 out of 10 from me. It's an 8.
Yeah.
8.5.
I think for me it's struggling for a 6 at the moment.
And I think it's just because of some of the really subtle character acting and the relationships.
I went into it after reading the reviews of the game, which were very, very less than complimentary.
So I haven't played the game yet.
I haven't played the game yet either. By all accounts, it sounds like there's a lot of technical problems with it, and that's been the major problem for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a brand new MMO.
It's buggy.
Yeah.
Because I was quite willing to, if the show had really clawed me, I was going to go straight out and buy the game, because the game's like 50 quid.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's a lot of money. And after watching the show, I was like, I might wait a while.
Yeah.
Because apparently, it looks like in the game you can go and scavenge arc falls and do stuff like that.
The arc falls, as I understand it, the arc falls are kind of like instances
Yeah.
from Warcraft.
Yeah, absolutely. You go into the instance and there's monsters in there.
And you go and find the arc fall. But no, I'm worried about the sustainability of that crossover. Because we've mentioned before the mentality of MMO players, how they get to a certain level, cap out, and then just keep going with new characters. So whether that crossover will last is one thing. Yeah,
I think that they need to seriously look at the payment model for it, because it doesn't seem to be a subscription. It seems to be an upfront payment.
So what, just you buy the game and that's it, you're on?
Yeah. And you buy, there's downloadable content packs that you can pay extra for, or you buy a season pass that gets you all the content for that season.
Oh, okay.
So I'm really not sure about the game economics there.
Yeah, because then the series wouldn't play technically off of the game, really.
I still don't know enough about the game, having not played it.
By having the season patch.
Yeah, because I think that they're due to release episodes of content, which in my mind doesn't really work for an MMO.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
It worked for Walking Dead. That was an awesome game, and every month or so they released a new episode of it, and that was brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of model works as an adventure game and an action shooter, but I don't see it working as an MMO.
No, you're too restricted by the episodal sort of side of it. Then it seems a bit bunged together quickly. We've got the pilot coming out, we need to get this game out. We got it in the shops, and then they go, oh shit, how do we deal with this?
We shall see.
We'll restrict the players.
We shall see. So I by no means am I giving up on it. I just have my reservations, and I wasn't blown away.
Okay. When I was saying before the show, they're going through the cast. It's the cast that we think it'll succeed.
Absolutely. Because Tony Curran's amazing, and
and Graham Greene.
Yes, Graham Greene.
Mia Kirshner, Julie Benz.
Yeah, it's weird. It's got like two. It's got Dexter's ex-wife and ex-girlfriend in one episode.
It's got two. I mean, Graham Greene and Mia Kirshner were both in Wolf Lake.
Yeah.
Show back from 2002. Yeah. And Jamie Murray.
That's it. Jamie Murray was Dexter's girlfriend.
She was in Warehouse 13.
She's also. She's also H.G. Wells. Yeah.
So you got. I made a list. Between them, the cast cover True Blood, Wolf Lake, Buffy, Angel, No Ordinary Family. Well, that's just Julie Benz on her own does the last three. Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Warehouse 13 and Hustle. I mean,
speaking of those crossovers, Anthony Head's going in Warehouse 13.
Really?
He's going to be the big bad in the last 3 episodes of the current season that's just started. The season's just come back on again because it's been off air. Season 4.
They were going to season 4.
Yeah, it's season 4 of Warehouse 13 at the moment.
Halfway
through. And then it stopped for a while, and now it's come back. It started back again last week.
Because I thought they canned at the end of season 3.
No, it's still going. And yeah, Anthony Head's going to be coming into that at the end of this season.
Interesting. But I think with that...
verifying now. In fact checking.
No.
Click, click.
Click. No, I got a password wrong. No, I think the cast have enough experience with sci-fi and fantasy that they know how seriously the fans take it, so they know how seriously to take it. So I think it will. I definitely think it will pick up, and I definitely think it'll be a must-watch show for me.
I hope it does. We've yet to have the absolute clincher for me, which will come next episode when we finally get the theme music.
Okay,
it's all about the theme music for me with a lot of shows. You watch the pilot because there's never theme music
on the pilot. Yeah, that's true.
And then you watch the first episode and then you go, oh my god, that's a god awful piece of music. Or yeah, that sounds really cool. Let's go with that. I refer you to Enterprise. It's one of the worst offenders.
Okay, yeah. That's fair.
It's like, oh god, do I have to sit through this
It's
again?
been a long road. Fuck off!
I just want to watch this program.
Don't ruin Star Trek.
It was like SFX3 when you're waiting in the main hall for any of the panels. Between panels, they played a CD of Sci-Fi's greatest hits, and that theme kept coming on.
No.
It was awful.
How anyone could view that as being the best of anything, I have no idea.
Yeah, but we'll put it on pilots for now. Then I reckon.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else in terms of pilots.
Well, there was Hemlock Grove, but I never caught that. But you caught that, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it's on Netflix.
What is it?
It's Netflix own production.
All right, so it's like House of Cards type thing. Yeah.
Well, it's not.
But
Yes, it's their own. It's their own production. Basically, it's a bit of a mashup. You got Once Upon a Time, bit of Buffy, throw it in with True Blood.
All right.
It's basically around sort of werewolves and
supernaturally
thing, but there's a lot of scientific stuff going on in the background. It's slowly developing along the show as the show goes on. You find out more and more, going, actually, how much of this is supernatural and how much of this has been these weird genetic stuff that's going on in the back.
Type thing.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Without, I couldn't really put too much more into that without having any spoilers whatsoever.
Yeah, I think we managed to get through Defiance without any spoilers there.
Yeah.
One or two
No.
minor.
No, there's
no actual spoilers in that Defiance roundup.
Cool.
Because there were a lot of things that we could have spoiled there, but we didn't.
And I can't really explain it too much without it really.
Yeah, because I saw the banner advert for it when I turned Netflix on today.
It's okay. It's watchable. It does draw you into it because it's got these weird sort of dark background stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But I found it a little bit. Let's have some boobies in it just for the hell of it. Let's have a little bit of
HBO attitude to programming.
Yeah, it is yeah.
Until the second season,
quite.
Yes. Once they hooked you with the first season with boobies, the second season is booby light.
I think it was like a topless sex scene within the first 30 seconds of it, and I was like, what the heck?
Hey, look, we show boobs on this show.
Boobs? Yeah. Oh no, I was actually waiting for something to rip a head off or something because I knew it was about werewolves or had some kind of reference to werewolves in it. I was going, yes, go on. When's the werewolf going to come in and rip her head off mid? No, it didn't happen.
Dear.
See, I was going to pass on that purely because it was billed as a horror, and I think it's been well established that I'm not a horror fan.
Okay.
So
you like horror. Supernatural though?
It's not a
Supernatural.
You watch Buffy? Would you class Buffy as a horror?
Would I bollocks?
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but Eli Roth didn't produce 3 episodes of Buffy. He produced 3 episodes of Hemlock Grove, and some of the trails that I saw for Hemlock Grove looked quite gruesome.
There is a couple of gruesome points.
Yeah,
in.
so
it is a little bit.
Kind of wasn't
gore-esque.
holding it. I like my entertainment to be like funny.
It's entertainment, not scary. Okay.
Light, not
Fair
torture
enough.
porn.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Except from the man who brought you 3 episodes of Hostel. Yeah.
But what about Dexter?
I don't watch Dexter.
No, Dexter's awesome.
Okay.
I've never watched
Fair dues.
Dexter.
Okay, fair dues.
So
That's a
I've seen them
fantastic
all.
show. It's very darkly humorous, Dexter.
Yeah.
well, I just got put off not by the subject matter of that, but by your man who plays Dexter, because he was in Six Feet Under as well.
Yes, he was.
And I started watching that because that was around the time that The Sopranos had come out. So, because it was HBO again, they were getting known for doing good shows. And so I saw The Sopranos and I watched ours, and then this came out. So I started watching 6 Feet Under, but just really didn't get into it.
I must admit, I've tried watching 6 Feet Under and I've never
It
got
was
past the
weird.
first season.
Yeah. Same.
It's okay, but I just haven't really got into it that much. I think I got more into Pushing Daisies than I did that. Pushing Daisies was an awesome show.
I think I watched a pilot for that. But I
That
found
was
it.
great fun.
I think I got drunk last time I did that. Oh, sorry, that's Pushing Daisy the cow.
Count it in.
So no, didn't watch Dexter.
Ah, fair enough.
But
But another one that's back, just saw today, is Continuum is back.
awesome.
Oh.
Episode
Okay.
1 of Season 2 of Continuum's
Cool.
just come on.
I
I need
think
to
I'm-
catch up with that and finish season.
Same here. I need to finish season 1. The first
I did like
4
that.
episodes are brilliant.
It's an awesome
Yeah.
show. I
Yeah.
loved the first season.
Yeah, because when I started watching that, it had already been picked up for a second season, so I
Yeah.
was really keen to get into that then. Because I've been disappointed with some of the pilots from last September's full season. Because like Revolution was one that I was really looking forward to, and I watched the first 6 episodes maybe, and I've just not been fussed to catch up with it. It just never really grabbed me the way I thought it would. So having Continuum and Defiance, that's sort of picked it up for me. It's brought sci-fi back in the game.
Yeah. We've been watching a lot of Rizzolian Isles. If you've come across that
Never
one.
even heard
What?
of that one.
It's a cop show set in Boston. It's got
Okay.
a girl who played Kate in NCIS seasons 1 and 2. That was it, season 1
Yes.
and 2. Because then she got killed in season
Halfway
2
season 2, yeah.
NCIS.
Oh,
Yes.
spoilers.
Oh,
Oh, come on, dude.
dude, we're on season 10. It's not a
Yeah.
spoiler.
That's a reminiscence.
But yeah, she's in it as a kind of Bones-like character. As a... Let it out. You know you want to.
You've been doing so well, lady. We've made it. We've made it through 6 episodes into your last smutty innuendo smirk.
But yeah,
You know of.
she's a coroner, and then it's all kind of like Irish mob and Boston
Okay.
murdery type. It's just another crime procedural set in Boston. So what are you staring at?
So, something just flashed up on my screen. It's a picture of. It's a first look picture of Halle Berry as Storm in Days of Future Past.
Okay.
No.
Oh dear.
Okay. That kind of
Yeah.
is a bit Thunderdome-esque.
I'm now officially bummed for that film.
Oh come on, it's going to be good.
It's gonna be great. It's got Jennifer Lawrence in, so how can it go wrong?
Look at it this way: it can never be as bad as Wolverine Origins.
It's true. It's true. They're pushing ahead with that Deadpool film now as well, though,
Which will be interesting.
which will be interesting.
I still want the Deadpool game, and I'm gutted. Deadpool game's on my PS3 and Xbox 360.
Huh?
It's not on PC.
Really?
I'm gutted.
Oh no!
Oh, how on PC?
Don't you have a PS3 though?
No, I don't have a PS3.
Don't you?
No.
No. We've
should
both
I've got
got
a PS2.
PS2 Slim.
Yeah. I've got a PS2 and a Wii.
Oh man, you get the PS3 then.
But God, well, what's the point in buying a PS3 now? There's PS4 coming out this Christmas,
Yeah, you make a good point.
which isn't backwards compatible.
Well, unless you
Yeah.
consider Gaikai in the
There are
cloud.
ways around it, but yeah.
No hardware compatibility, that's for sure.
But you see, because if I get a PS4 or a PS3, that means I will then own a Blu-ray player, and that then means I have to start buying things on Blu-ray,
Yeah.
and then everything will get a lot more expensive.
Although sometimes I find the Blu-rays cheaper than DVDs.
It is sometimes.
I got
yes.
Cabin in the Woods on Blu-ray for £9,
Wow.
cheaper than the DVD.
Okay.
I saw Prometheus. I think was down to £8 on Blu-ray in Sainsbury's.
Would you
and
part £8
I
for
was just like,
Prometheus?
there is no price at which that film becomes cheap enough for me to want to buy. So yeah, keep going, Sainsbury's. You might get there one day.
Give it away free.
Give it away
Pack of
free.
biscuits,
Yeah.
Probably leave it at the checkout.
Buy 2 pizzas, get Prometheus free. Oh, I have a coaster for my beer.
But you're right. Once you buy the Blu-ray player, you do have to start picking up Blu-ray films.
Yeah.
You do, because they are just better.
They play normal DVDs as well, don't
Well, they do
Yeah,
play
they
normal
do.
DVDs, but then what's the point in having a Blu-ray player? You might as well just have a DVD player.
Because it comes with the
But it's in
PlayStation 4.
1080p. I've got to watch it in that because then it's awesome. And then I'm going to get a 3D TV as well.
And a
See,
holographic projector.
I'm still not sold on 3D. But Blu-ray's definitely. I think Blu-ray's worth it.
Yeah. It probably is, sir. It's just, yeah.
Do it. Join the dark side.
How long is it going to be before they have a full sensory suit to go to the cinema? You know, like you actually have like the wind or you feel the G-force or something. You know,
I don't know,
pressed on
but
your face. You know,
watch the porn industry. They're the kind of people who come up with that first.
Yeah.
it's true though. It is true.
Funny you should mention the cinema. Trailers.
Oh, we got another awesome segue.
I know.
There. Oh, damn it. I've just ruined it by
Oh right.
drawing attention to the segue.
Oh no, I'm just crowing the segues in. Making it look seamless.
Trailers.
Man of Steel. It's the first Man of Steel trailer I've seen that makes me want to watch the film.
All right, okay.
Because I've really not been fussed about the whole Superman reboot
Mm-hmm.
up until that latest trailer, and then I was just like, okay, I'm probably going to go and watch this now.
All the bits I've seen so far, it just looks like some tard in a fucking Kevlar suit with a fucking rubber stamp on it.
What, the shield?
Yeah.
It's Kryptonian, it means hope. That's their explanation in the
Yeah,
film
but
for the S.
it just looks like some dude in a fucking skin-tight Kevlar suit with a fucking rubber stamp on it.
Yeah, but I'm not getting hung up on the costume.
No.
I mean, you get hung up on the costume, you're going to go back to Joel Schumacher with nipples in the bat suit.
Hell yeah.
So,
That was
the
sort of
actual film itself kind of looks, it's beginning to look decent in my eyes.
Okay. I haven't seen any of the trailers.
Trailers,
I'm not a big trailer fan. I tend to wait and just watch the film. I don't like, because ever since trailers started basically giving away the entire film, I stopped watching trailers.
Fair dude.
It's fair. The other one,
I used to love watching trailers, but now I only ever see it when I go to the cinema.
Because it just
Yeah,
shows
true.
you all the good parts and
Yeah.
ruins the film.
the other one was Star Trek Into Darkness. The final trailer for that. So I remember when we had Jonathan Green on the show back at episode 6,
Yeah.
I said that I was getting a little bit worried because it looked like a generic action film
Yes.
set on Earth.
Yep.
This latest trailer has made me change my mind.
Alleviated your
Yeah,
worries.
the latest trailer has made me go, oh, thank fuck.
Okay.
It's definitely a Star Trek film.
The bits of it that I managed to catch, because my father decided to stand in the way of the TV when I was gripping on my seat, going, I need to watch this. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Star Trek films.
Well, I would hope so. It is a Star Trek film.
No, the originals. You know, the proper Kirk. You know, the original.
The original Kirk.
The original Kirks. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
They've brought it back to some of those
Well,
similarities.
You do have the Enterprise moving on the... is it the third or the fourth plane now? So you've got forwards, backwards, side to side, then up and down. Doing the Wrath of Khan maneuver through the
there's
nebulas.
Four axes in space, yeah.
So yeah, because in Wrath of Khan, the Enterprise is in the nebula and it moves on the fourth axis,
Yes.
and then we have that shot more or less replicated through Cloudfall in the trailer. So
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, I'm looking
it
forward
will be
to
one I'll go
it. It
and
looks
see.
like
Yeah.
I'm going to go and see it.
Oh, big thing for me is Iron Man 3 this weekend.
I'm going to go see it on Wednesday at the.
This
The
weekend we're
previews.
going to trip out to see Iron Man 3. What are you sulking for?
He's not going to watch
I'm
it.
working.
Yeah, I think it depends when this is released. But if this podcast is out after the 24th, I should have already seen it. So I'll go to the previews on the Wednesday, I
Right.
think.
Yeah.
And I might even do a quick NerdVsWorld bonus and just record a quick 5-minute review of it and just put it up online.
Yeah, do it.
But I'm looking forward to that.
I'm very much looking forward to
Well,
that.
the embargo on reviewing it lifted today, I think, and I've seen a couple of reviews already, and they said the tone's quite different.
Well, it's supposedly very dark, this one.
Yeah.
Because it's Tony Stark dealing with his monsters after his demons after the New York incident of the Avengers.
Yeah. But everyone seems to love it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So
I can totally see why it's just,
So I'm looking forward to it. And then, of course, the other thing I saw was Hunger Games.
I've still not seen the first one yet.
It's okay.
I wrote that first film off without even seeing it.
Yeah.
As did I.
And then I watched it, and I made a public apology for writing it off, because I really, really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was okay.
I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was really good for what it was, for what it was handling, for the length of the film and its pacing and the way it told the story. It was great. I've not read the books, so I don't know how it translates to the books. I am now very keen on November coming quickly, so I can watch the sequel. And it's got Jennifer Lawrence. Which, on a brighter note, I spent 2 hours last Thursday just watching Jennifer Lawrence clips on YouTube. I YouTubed like Jennifer Lawrence funny clips. She's just adorable. She's hilarious. And then I watched the Oscars. I watched the entire Oscars in 2013.
You just like girls that pout.
I like girls with attitude, and she's got attitude by the bucket loads. And I watched Silver Linings Playbook as well.
Pout.
I'll leave it there. I'm gonna shut up now. So Star Wars. Anything different?
How's your chopsticks?
They're rad actually. Yeah.
You actually tried using them?
Yeah.
Chicken teriyaki with them last week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I ate my
Teriyaki noodles.
You ate your pot noodle with them.
I should have done.
Just that would have been.
I didn't. I ate my flame grilled McCoys with them, so that I didn't get like the little powder on my fingers, and just so I could practice. But fuck it, I had a pot noodle. Why did I not use them from the pot noodle? Nuts. No, but yeah. Star Wars news.
To be honest, I haven't really seen anything.
Well, they've announced that they are going to be doing 5 movies.
Yeah,
So
I heard that.
one every year for 5 years.
One every year for 5 years.
From
Star Wars
2015.
movies. But not necessarily a Star Wars movie, but an offshoot movie.
Well, from 2015 will be Episode 7, then every other year will be another of the new trilogy, so 8 and 9.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 films will be standalone movies. I haven't yet seen what those movies will be focusing on.
Yeah, well, I think Lawrence Kasdan's involved in writing one of them.
Boba Fett Origins. No.
Who wrote Empire and.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder which way he'll go with that then. I don't know. And the other thing they said is they've announced, well, they've got kind of a working title for the next animated series, which is Star Wars Reclamation.
So is this to replace Clone Wars, yeah?
Yeah.
So it'll be a Cartoon Network thing.
I don't think it's Cartoon
Disney
Network,
now?
I think it's going on Disney.
Yeah, Disney, yeah.
Yeah.
Disney XD.
Yeah. And that's going to be, it's set 15 years after the events of Jedi.
Right.
And 15 years before the events of Episode 7.
Okay.
So it's going to be kind of bridging the gap and giving fans an idea of what they can expect in Episode 7. So.
Plus gives the opportunity to get Mark Hamill back to do more voiceovers.
Yeah. And hopefully get Carrie Fisher back as well, because Leia Organa is going to be central character to Reclamation. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, yeah, interesting. When's that due?
I didn't see a date.
All right, okay.
It's literally just kind of like
It's just
up in the air plans that are what's going to be
Watch this
happening.
space kind of thing.
Yeah. One that I do have is Saturday, the May the 4th. Star Wars Day.
Star Wars Day, yeah.
Yeah. Blue Lotus Tattoo Studio in Worcester are doing their usual Star Wars Day deal. So just Star Wars tattoos. There is a discount, but it's not like 10% or 20% discount because it depends on the tattoo that's being done.
Sure.
So, but yeah, if you go along, they'll be doing Star Wars tattoos all day, and they will be done at a discount, depending on what you're getting done.
Cool.
Go along. Ask for Loz Phillips.
We've got visitors, so we've got Roach and Joe coming round, so we'll probably end up drinking a lot of cocktails until very early in the morning.
Yeah, I might get one.
Cocktails?
Yeah, that's what we did when we went to visit them down in London.
Yeah.
Roach was doing all his
You
cocktails.
don't have to reciprocate.
Well, no, I'm going to get him to do them.
Two parts Jack Daniels, 1 part Coke.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome.
That's a cocktail.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, it's so easy. The Jack Daniels can be replaced by anything. 2 parts crack and rum, 1 part Coke.
Works.
Yeah.
Works.
Two,
No.
2 parts Jägermeister, 1 part Coke.
One part beer and 2 parts Kraken.
Or anything of your choice, but drink responsibly, kids.
Because I won't be.
Yeah, there was a. I know this is off subject slightly, but there was a point some years back. I can't remember whether it was pre or post Ariana being born, but Simon and I actually went through a 24 case of beer plus some at a party.
Yeah, the weekend.
Good Lord. That was in one evening.
Yeah.
I think we had several ales before breaking into the case.
God knows, yeah.
So there was certainly, we certainly neared enough a good 24 cans each of that evening. and a few whiskey chasers.
Ollie Reed, says I.
Oh,
Ollie
goodness
Reed.
me. That was an Ollie Reed evening.
Should we take a break with some music?
Good idea.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yes, good call. So.
Okay. Well, today's music is being brought to us by Inca Hoots.
I love that name. It's so
It's very
It's a
good.
brilliant name. They're a band from Worcester. I used to work with a couple of these guys back at the cinema. The track is The Golden Age of Steam. It's off their new EP. I'll put all links to their Bandcamp page where you can purchase it in the blog description. Enjoy, and we will see you on the other side.
Digital man, analog age. Take a bow. The what is now your stage. For this golden age, as we pace these grounds and watch ages pass of no digital watch.
welcome back to the show. Huge thanks there to the guys at In Cahoots for letting us use your track.
Yeah, it was very cool. I enjoyed.
Really good vibe.
Yeah, it was for me. It kind of crossed a bit of the kind of post-rock stuff that I've been listening to with a bit of Ludo, which is kind of like weird American kind of college pop rock.
Sweet.
So, yeah, it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah. Again, if you know any bands, time to get in touch. We'll play their music in our musical interlude. There is no genre specificity, or, to put it in better English, we require no specific genre.
We'll play anything.
Yeah. So
If you pay us enough money.
So yeah, something we're always looking for new and interesting music to play.
Absolutely, yes.
Cool. Right. And that little bit of sunshine, to be fair, because that track was quite happy, is just hold on to that, because the topic,
to be eclipsed.
yeah, the topic for this show really is remakes. So for the next section, be braced, because there could well be some nerd rage.
We're fucking irked by them.
Yeah, I was going to might contain strong language, but there we go.
I think
This
is
bit will
understatement.
definitely contain some fucking strong language.
Right, let's just go straight into it then. What's the one that irked you most? Because there was two for me that really got me going this week.
There have been two this week,
Yes.
and both of them are about the same, because Weird Science, I fucking love that movie. John
Absolutely.
Hughes, basically, he could do no wrong, even though he did do Home Alone, for which we'll let him off for that, given the fact that he made all the other fucking films, which are amazing. And yeah, those were like the epitome of my teenage and growing up years. We're watching John Hughes, Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club, Weird Science,
Ferris Bueller.
Fucking hell yeah.
all of those are that's just my teenage years right there.
Absolutely. I think it's all of that.
And the whole idea of them rebooting that just sends a shiver down my spine. So yeah, that's bad. And then of course the other one is The Crow.
The Crow.
Which again is one of my favourite movies of all
There is
time.
only one.
Well, indeed, I'm that much of a purist about The Crow that I've refused to watch any of the sequels. I refuse to watch any of the TV shows. I have all the comics, and I've read all the kind of follow-up comics, because that's fine. They're written by James O'Barr. They're great. And they carry on and expand the mythos. What they don't do is go back and tell it all over again with somebody else doing it. Because The Crow is one of my favourite films. It is, I don't know when I started doing this, but it is the first film I watch every year. So New Year, either before I go to bed on New Year's Eve / day morning, I'll watch The Crow, or it'll be the first thing I watch the next morning when I wake up. Right. It is my first film of the year every year.
Quite often in a semi-drunken stupor under a duvet.
In a complete drunken stupor, generally speaking, by like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So that's something I've joined Simon in for the last 10 years.
Indeed, yeah, it's a tradition.
Most of the time it's been me and Simon watching it.
Yeah. A few people have made it up to the end of the film, but not many.
Not many.
Generally, people just pass out far too early, and we end up playing Buckaroo with them and various household objects.
Human Buckaroo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the two big ones that have come out. So, thoughts on these then, gents?
Well, where do we start?
Don't fucking do it.
Well, that's
Simple. End of.
That's
Don't
the
do
bottom.
it.
Well,
I think that was my first comment.
the
Was,
bottom
who do
line.
we need to kill to stop this?
I think I've mentioned it before. But NerdVsWorld actually started a couple of years back with a blog, because they were talking about casting Bradley Cooper as the Eric Draven in the remake of The Crow, and my Facebook status was limited in terms of characters, so I couldn't fully express my rage. So I started NerdVsWorld to rage about it. And my opinion is simple. Leave them the fuck alone. Don't mess with cult classics. Because whilst they might be able to reproduce the film, they can't reproduce sort of the feel in the wider world that surrounded the movie.
Yeah.
Sort of like the cultural awareness is just not there now. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, the reason why I think that it took off so well in 94, the original Crow, was because Vertigo launched in 1993, and that brought together darkly
It was all the dark supernatural things of the DC universe.
Yeah, dark fantasy.
Swamp Thing, Constantine, Sandman.
And I think that made people ready for an adaptation of The Crow. I mean, The Crow predates that. The Crow was 89, which, as you say, there was Sandman prints from 89, pre-Vertigo era Sandman. So I think people were ready for that. But people now, they don't want the dark fantasy. Not the majority of cinema goers. They want the action superheroes. So I think the finger is well off the pulse with regards to the remake of The Crow.
Yeah, I think it is. Well, we were talking about this in the last one about doing the Justice League Dark movie, and I think that's the right way for DC to go to do that.
Yeah.
And that may well, I would hope if they do that and do that correctly, that would kind of reignite some kind of interest in that kind of dark superhero.
Yeah, but then to just suddenly do it out there, throw it in.
But to throw the Crow in for no reason.
Yes, that doesn't make sense at all, and I can understand it being after
What I don't get is why the need to remake the original. There are more stories than the original Crow.
There is, yes.
The ethos and the mythos of it, as I was talking to somebody about this online, and she wrote an excellent live journal about it, the mythos stands up to more stories than just the Eric Draven story. Why not do
Eric
more
Draven
stories?
Was actually a very smaller version. It wasn't.
Well, it was the very first one. I mean,
series, yeah.
It was the first one because Eric Draven was the author. James O'Barr wrote the book to cope with the loss of his girlfriend,
his girlfriend
who'd been killed in a car accident. Yeah, and the first half of it is dedicated to Ian Curtis from Joy Division as well.
Yeah, it's a very dark book of somebody dealing with loss, and that's why it's such a powerful story. But then again, that's retold again from a different perspective in The Crow Dead Time, which was the immediate follow-up to it, which was a Native American Indian who'd been killed a way long time ago, and he was dealing with reincarnated versions of the people that killed him. And that's an excellent way to take the story.
Yeah.
And that's a whole new way of telling it. And the only link is that the Crow brings another spirit back as a spirit of vengeance. Fantastic. Tell that story.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's no need to retell the Eric Draven story.
No, I think it should be left alone.
Well, it's not just that. It's just the fact is all the sequels they've had have just told that same story again. The sequels have been more or less the same format as the original.
Yes.
I saw one. I saw the one with Edward Furlong and David Boreanaz, Tara Reid. I can't remember what it's called. It was on one night.
I know the names of some. There's on Wicked Prayer, I think.
I think that might have been the one. Yeah.
But yeah, I've refused to watch them. It's a standing joke in my house of like when we're flicking through Netflix and going, oh, why is there a space in between those two movies? Along with the Highlander ones.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's just the movies studios haven't got their finger on the cultural pulse right now for a dark fantasy comic adaptation. Let alone they have no awareness of the absolute rage it's causing in people.
Well, indeed. I love the first one and I have nigh encyclopedic knowledge of the first one. As people are like going, oh, why is that happening in the film? I go, well, it's like this. This is the reason why he's got tape up and down his arms and his back. There's this deleted scene and rah, rah, rah. And his Skull Cowboy, and they're like, what the fuck's a Skull Cowboy? Well, he didn't actually make it into the film, and it ended up rah, 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 rah. I love it.
Yeah.
It is quite possibly my favourite film of all time, just because I'm that invested in it, and it's just absolute genius. It brought together, for me, the kind of dark, supernatural, horror and superhero things, and it stuck a ton of my favourite bands on the soundtrack, and then had a kick-ass original score by Graham Revell as well as that. I mean, I still own both of the soundtracks for that, because I went out and bought the CD of the original soundtrack and the songs from the film, because absolute genius. The songs I thought were just fucking stunning.
The Nine Inch Nails cover of Dead Souls is just one of my favourite
yeah.
songs of all time.
There is nothing to take away the feeling when I first watched that movie and it was just running across the rooftops to that. It was like, fuck me, this is good.
Yeah, that soundtrack is outstanding. I went on a trip to France when I was in high school, and that was my soundtrack for the entire trip. Just copied onto a tape on my little Walkman, earbuds in, listen to that. Awesome, great soundtrack. But yeah,
it is. But I mean,
it should be left alone.
It should be left alone. The thing is what you were saying goes back to this is where NerdVsWorld started.
How
And
can we stop them doing it?
Well, the thing is, we spoke about a Crow remake on the Eclectic podcast like this time last year.
We did, yeah.
So this whole Crow remake thing keeps rearing its ugly head every now and then, pissing everyone off, and then going away again. So we can but hope that it will just go away again quietly.
Well, that's what I was going to go to. So, I mean, I think that's very good hope, because I think the recent rumour is Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston, yeah.
As Eric Draven. The previous one had Bradley Cooper. So I think it is going to be one of these things which is back every year or so.
Yeah. Well, there's been all sorts of people linked to it. There was Cillian Murphy was linked to it at one point. James McAvoy was linked to it at one point.
Oh, that shit.
There was it not Tom Waits? Nick Cave was rumoured to be writing it at one point. Stephen Norrington directing it. So it's one of those things that has had so many people attached to it in its various forms where it kind of pops up. And I'm sure they just do it either to piss people off or just test the water to go, right, okay, so let's announce an actor, a director and a writer and then see what the reaction is. No, everybody hates it, right, we'll go back and try again then, shall we?
Oh dear, we just broke the internet.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, hypothetical question. I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this before I ask it. Is there any situation, any conditions under which you would accept a remake of The Crow?
I was fairly ready to accept the remake when it was the Nick Cave, Stephen Norrington combo, and it would very much have to depend on who the writer and the director were. But I don't know. Every time it comes around, I always have mixed feelings about it, because if it's like writers, directors, actors that I really respect, I don't want to go, don't do it because it's the film that you should just fucking leave alone, because I'd be interested to see what somebody's take on it might be. But still, there's just
why not
part
do it
of me
with
that's just
a
like
new Crow story?
Yeah, indeed, yeah. Rather than I don't think I would ever readily accept a remake of The Crow. I would accept a reboot of the franchise if it was a different story.
Yes. I just concur with that.
Yeah,
entirely.
okay.
That's
The one condition I had when I wrote that first blog entry all those years ago was that they don't water it down. If they're going to do it, it has to push for an 18.
Oh, of course.
It has to. It has.
God,
it
yes.
absolutely has to be. I mean, that goes without saying. They can't push for a 15 or a PG-13. It has to be an 18. It's not a story that can be told in a light, fluffy way. It is
not
dark.
one of these fucking comedic. Oh, sorry. This is one of my absolute disdains at the moment. Is these fucking horrendous comedic remakes
of parodies.
Yeah, of everything.
Yeah.
Like Starsky and Hutch. How was that a fucking comedy? Dukes of Hazzard. No.
Oh, you mean
that's just examples?
Right, so you don't even mean the parody ones. You mean the actual?
Yeah.
They're seriously making the film, but just making it funny.
Yes, and it's fucking ruining everything from childhood. It's like, why don't they make a fucking stage production of Knight Rider, for fuck's sake? You know, have a musical of Knight Rider. It makes
would
just
be down with that.
Yeah, but it just makes as much fucking sense to me. It just no. 21 Jump Street was not a fucking comedy.
No, you're right. It's the whole reimagining of something that was.
If you're gonna do it fucking properly, or fuck off and come up with something new.
It just brings up the larger question of just why not do something new? And I don't get why they don't, because there's enough new material of stuff out there. There's books and stuff everywhere that people could just go, right, let's pick that up and make that, and it would be fucking awesome. But then you get somebody who turns around and goes, hey, you know what? It's been 10 years. Why not remake Footloose? Why the fuck did you bother?
Absolutely.
Well, it's
let's not have
the
any
amazing,
music in it.
The Amazing Spider-Man. The Amazing Spider-Man. It's been
I've still
10
not seen
years
that, yeah.
since the first one. That's a film that's been rebooted far too soon.
Yes.
Yes, that's where I stand. Do it. If you're going to do it, it has to be an 18. That's my one condition. Push for an 18. Don't water it down. Don't pussy out. Do it right or fuck off.
Yeah.
That's what I think on that, to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah. Should we just take a quick moment to compose ourselves from the rage? And into Weird Science.
Weird Science. Right.
Where do we go from here?
Well, I mean, the thing with Weird Science was that, again, that also had a TV spin-off that ran for like 7 years or something on TV, the TV series of Weird Science. I can't say I ever saw it. I only found out about it like this week when I was looking online. I went, what do you mean there's a TV show of it? It went on for like 80-odd episodes or something.
That completely bypassed me.
Yeah, indeed. I had no clue about it, but it apparently exists. Again, I don't know. There is no way you can remake Weird Science with the same kind of innocent joy of the first one.
No. But have you
Not
have
in
you
this
heard
day and age.
Have you heard the thing of what they want to do with it?
All I've heard is that they want to reboot it, and after that, once the red mist had cleared, I just.
Sorry, I'm seething.
I just avoided the story. I think I put a link on my Facebook saying, no, doing the whole Khan thing, but it's just, again, it's the studios missing the cultural pulse by a mile and just having their finger rammed firmly up their ass and not really getting it.
I know
because
what I
right.
liked when I was a kid. Let's remake that.
Well, no, Spinoza's right. There is no way they can make Weird Science and have the same sort of innocence with it.
There isn't.
Because no one is going to be that naive about tech as they were when that film was made.
Yeah, indeed.
And that's the thing. It was 85?
Yeah, 85.
85? And computers were not mainstream. John Hughes has done things with computers in a couple of his films because obviously Ferris Bueller was a big fan of the personal computer as well.
Fantastic.
But yeah, no one at the time actually knew what you could do with a computer. No one knew how far you could push it. And I mean,
Stuff
what
like
they did
war
in
games and things, yeah.
what they did in Weird Science was way beyond the realms of possibility. That was just pure fantasy. But you can't get that level of suspension of disbelief of what could possibly happen with computers nowadays because we can do nearly most things with it. So you're not going to have that in any remake.
Yeah, you're not. It's just it's not gonna happen.
Apparently, it's not even meant to be even hinted on the technical side of it in that manner. From what I've read and picked up on, it is completely supposed to be an even more farcical and lewd version of Weird Science.
Well, it's the guy who did Product X, isn't it?
With the guys, or in the not guys of sorry, on a similar sort of par to 21 Jump Street, the reboot. It's meant to have that kind of comedic feel to it, but what? It's beyond me. I don't know how. It doesn't make sense, and I just see it going as like, oh, let's make a film that we can put somebody who sounds like the original in it. Let's put Kelly Brook in there because she's got big tits.
Well, first off, I wouldn't cast Kelly Brook in the Kelly LeBrock role.
No, but from what it sounds like, they want to because she's just done Piranha 3D. Let's throw her in there. She's British. She's her name's Kelly.
She's got a rack.
Yeah, let's throw her in there and make it really funny and do it as much as possible for titillation. What's the fucking point?
Which completely
Seriously.
misses the point of the
does.
film.
And from everything I've read, that's the direction that they're trying to head in, and I think it's just fucking stupid.
It is.
It's
Pointless. Just please don't fucking bother. You're wasting your time. Go and produce a fucking porn movie. It'll make you more money.
You'd probably make more money, yeah.
Well, the thing is, I had this conversation with someone recently, and it's like, because we were talking about John Hughes movies, and we're just wondering, who is the modern John Hughes?
Kevin
John.
Smith.
Well, he's not. Well, he's not really the modern John Hughes. He would have been the John Hughes for our generation, but that's kind of like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I suppose.
You know, it's been a while, and that's where I think the problem is that no one is making films for the disenfranchised youth who are still trying to find themselves.
Yeah,
Because the people who were making those films, the John Hughes filmmakers, the Kevin Smith filmmakers, they've grown up, and like their audience has grown up, and they're still making films for their audience. There's no one making.
Grown up along with the-
There's no one
the
making
new
films
generation.
for the 14-year-olds who are still trying to work out who
Where
they are.
in life.
And that's what John Hughes did. That's what all of his films were. They were rites of passage
Yeah,
movies.
absolutely. Yeah.
And there is no modern equivalent. I mean, the closest I can think of to a modern equivalent would be Napoleon Dynamite, purely because
I hated that film.
it's one that splits people, but purely because the protagonist wasn't cool. Because Scott Pilgrim doesn't cut it. I love the Scott Pilgrim film, but it's not a film for people who don't know who they are, because the hero knows who he is.
I think most recently a film that I've seen that fits that criteria would be Role Models.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, but
That's-
is that Judd Apatow?
That's not.
Yeah,
But that's not a recent one though. That's not that recent.
It is.
It's about 5-6 years.
Yeah.
It's within that.
It's
Okay.
recent.
But again, that's speaking to the generation that's grown up from John Hughes films.
But no, but but there's the younger kids in that as
There
well,
is.
because there's the what's his name,
There's-
Stifler from.
Yeah, there's
Thing.
there's the role play kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because I've never really considered those. I've never really considered the kids to be the principal characters in that. It's always been
Really, the two grown-ups.
the two grown-ups.
Okay.
I don't watch that film and relate to the kids. I watch that film and relate to the grown-ups.
Really? Okay.
It's just like,
I
yeah,
thought it was
I'm a slacker adult who has no direction. I relate to the guys in that
fair
film.
enough.
You know,
I saw is that the grown-ups and the kids had the same problem, and then together they actually kind of like worked out their each individual problems, and it focused a
I
little
guess
bit on
that's
each of
the
their
kind of
problems.
closest I can think of
Yeah.
off the top of my head to
True.
a kind of modern day John Hughes film.
yeah. But I struggle to think of any films which have tried to do rite of passage and do it well. I mean, I suppose
Harry Potter.
Super 8, but that's
Super 8 was a really
That's-
good film, but that was more.
that's more the coming. It's more the coming of age rather than rite of
Yeah, it was
passage.
coming of age. Yeah, it was more Goonies than
Yeah.
it was Breakfast Club.
Club.
True.
Yeah, so that, you know, I think there's some independent films possibly that do it, but there's no one telling that
Chronicle
story.
was kind of there, but that was a bit too serious.
So I can see why they're trying to remake it.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, there's definitely a need in the market for it, but the need in the market is for something new and fresh for this generation,
Yeah.
not something from our generation crowbarred into theirs.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's where I stand on it.
Yeah.
It's just like what's missing is the storytellers.
Yeah.
What's missing is we're going to have an entire generation of people who haven't had films that they connect to quite as strongly as we do, and films which like they'll have had no films that in 20 years' time, if they see rumours of a remake, that they'll rage out quite as strong as we do.
Well, I think the thing is with my daughter is it'll be all the same films with because I've been bringing her up and watching all the same films I grew up with as a kid. So she's been watching Goonies and Neverending Story and all that sort of stuff, and she absolutely loves those films.
So, the weird science verdict.
Just don't. Again,
Don't even
just don't
touch it.
Don't
Just-
fucking do it because it will just be a crass kind of American Pie style thing,
Yes.
which will lose all of its charm from the original. Because likely they'll put in like two stoners instead of like the kind of slightly nerdy kids.
Well, see, that's the other thing. I think this is being touted now because nerd is suddenly cool.
Geek
Yeah.
is chic, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The thing is, when this film was made, nerd was very much not cool.
indeed.
That was why those two principal characters worked.
Yes.
It's because they weren't cool.
Yeah.
Any remake will have them being Scott Pilgrim, will have them being the cool nerd.
Indeed.
And that's the thing, they're just completely missing where...
Plot.
Well, Yes,
The
and
story, the
and
plot.
where we are, we have lost that sort of subculture handle for nerd. It's become mainstream, and now
Yes.
people want to just slap nerd in front of anything and just stick it out there and monetize it. But they're missing the point by doing that with a remake of Weird Science. You're completely missing what it was to be a nerd.
Yeah.
What it is to be a nerd.
Yeah.
You know. Which is why I think you're right. The film will have none of its charm. And these two guys will not be unsure of themselves. They'll all of a sudden be very, very sure of themselves.
Yeah.
And they'll have no problem with women, which defeats the point of creating one.
Indeed.
It's
At best, it will be a kind of slapstick comedy.
Yes.
That's the only way I can see it going.
With some random nudity thrown
Yeah.
in just for the fuck of it.
Indeed.
And I can just see Stifler being cast as Chet.
Yeah, indeed.
He is fucking
Yeah.
Chet. That's where he based his character on.
Yeah.
and they'll CGI that as well.
Oh yes.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
you'll have a CGI poo.
Yeah. So yeah.
Basically, yeah. I just I've had enough of reboots and remakes. I'm actually sick to death of them now.
Yeah.
That's all that seems to be coming out is sequels and reboots.
I think everybody, just on Facebook, on Twitter, on loads of various online postings and things like that, it all seems to be across the board. Everybody feels that way. They're fed up.
Yeah, but the thing is, where do you draw the line? Because I'm quite happy to rage against the Crow remake. I'm happy to rage against Weird Science. I've gone on record so many times my vehement dislike of them rebooting the Turtles. But rebooting Man of Steel and the latest trailer has you wanting to watch it. Star Trek has been rebooted in a new universe with J.J. Abrams, and I'm actually kind of down with that.
The thing that makes certainly the Star Trek one very, very different is it's not so much a reboot as a continuation of the franchise in an alternate timeline.
Yes,
So-
they've done it cleverly
Yeah, that
without it pissing
I
off too many
don't
people.
count Star Trek as being a reboot or a remake because it's an alternate history of the original timeline.
And that's what I tell myself too, which is why I get on with it and I can do it.
Yeah,
You know.
so I'm happy with that as just
It's
falling within the
justifiable.
Star
Yeah.
Trek canon.
That's cool.
It's
'Cause it
justifiable. It's not just for shits and giggles and
Yeah.
where we need to throw a film out there, so we'll
Yeah.
just fucking reboot
There was
something
nothing else
that I
really
liked when I was
going
a
on in the
kid.
Star Trek universe. This is the continuation because there's
Yeah.
no Star Trek series ongoing. There's no other films ongoing at the
No.
moment. So this is the Star Trek universe at the moment. This is where it has gone
Yeah.
to, and this is where it will carry on from there. What was it? What was the other one you said? Sorry.
I forget now. I said it a couple of minutes ago. What was it? It was Man of Steel.
Superman.
Yeah.
Yes. That is a difficult one because, to be fair, they rebooted it not that long ago with
Kevin Spacey
Superman
and what's his face.
Returns,
Yeah,
which I quite liked. I don't think you did.
I didn't like it. So.
and I didn't even bother to watch.
So yeah, I don't see there was a need to reboot that at the moment unless they're doing it in terms of Justice League, which they may or may not be doing. So
Yeah. We're already.
yeah, it's difficult. I think that we've had this conversation before about the DC universe and how disparate it is. So the DC film universe is something that is nowhere near as coherent as the Marvel
No.
film universe. And that's something that it will only come with time, and the only way that you can do that with superhero movies is to reboot them. But in saying that, the one thing that you shouldn't keep doing is keep doing origin movies.
No.
Because if you keep doing origin movies of superheroes, everybody will lose their fucking shit and just not bother anymore. There's only so many times you can see Peter Parker being bitten by a spider for you to just not care. Because I think that's the thing, certainly with comic books in general, is that comic books have this tendency of reinventing themselves every few years for a new generation. They've done that since the 20s.
Yeah.
they get to a certain point with the characters, and then they go back to the start again and tell a version of the same story. And that's something that's been prevalent in the kind of the superhero and the comic mythos forever.
Yeah.
Is this remaking, rebooting philosophy, but it doesn't, which is why they get away with it with superhero movies. But that doesn't stretch into other things, such as remaking Evil Dead. Why?
Exactly.
Evil Dead 2 was a remake of Evil Dead. I don't know. It just... Yes, there are circumstances where reboots and remakes are acceptable, but they tend to be within spheres where it is acceptable.
So, yeah, comic book movies is acceptable because comics do it. So, yeah, that's fine. How about Carrie? Because Carrie's been remade and that's coming out this year. And I'm not actually raging about that. I liked the first one. I liked the original. And
But do you consider the original to be one of the best films you've ever seen? And wasn't it an amazing cinematic achievement? And
No.
Begin with, yeah.
No,
That's
although
the
it did have the original cheap scare at the end. Though.
Yeah.
But no, that wasn't one of the ones. So maybe there's a correlation there between my attachment to the movie and my level of rage.
Absolutely, yeah, I imagine there is, because that's what certainly is it for me. I've never been overly enamoured with Carrie as a film, which is why I wasn't that bothered. I watched the sequel, it was chewing gum, it was alright, and this will probably be more chewing gum, although Carrie may be slightly more kick-ass, because Chloe Moretz is Carrie, so, but... From what I gather about it, there's a lot of telekinesis and throwing things around that it might as well be a superhero movie in the end. But we'll see. I think it's true that there is a massive correlation between how much we love a film and how irked we get when it gets rebooted. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's raging about Carrie being remade because it's one of their favourite films.
Yeah.
I imagine Stephen King's rubbing his hands with glee, but...
Well, he's keeping his pockets lined with the Shining sequel.
Yeah.
Is it Hotel Overlook?
Yeah, and there's Haven still running, which is based on Colorado Kid.
Yeah.
It's one of his.
I just think there's just so much out there that can be reached easily by Hollywood, by independent film companies. There is just way too much stuff out there that the sort of 14 to 25-year-olds at the moment are looking at and reading, watching. You've got all the stuff coming over from Japan. There's loads of manga that hasn't even been made into anime that can be picked up and produced into a really relevant film for that sort of age range. There's just... I've got to say, even somebody just get a light steampunk book and fucking convert that into a film,
I was just
for
about
God's
to
sake.
say that.
You know what I mean?
After the conversation we had with Jonathan Green, I'm expecting steampunk movies.
Yes, because it's even on TV adverts now, there's little bits of gears and cogs coming in, and shop windows have got it in their displays, and the Victoriana is creeping into everything.
Defiance, they're all very steampunky in their costumes.
So,
and
Spirit Riders.
It's crying
That's who they were. I
Spirit
remember
Riders,
the guys.
yeah.
The guys with the top hat, Spirit Riders.
It's crying
top hats and
out.
goggles.
Yeah.
It's crying
Just
out for that to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and it would be very easy to dip in and dip out of in many different guises because it's such an open source. Because you can't go wrong. You can throw it in with any kind of musical and
I think this is where a lot of studios run into huge problems in that they can't quantify how successful something like that is going to be because it hasn't been done, and it's not based on something that has a huge fan base for any particular one thing. Like, say for example, you look at Game of Thrones, they took the chance on that, and it
fucking
an
worked.
excellent series, yes, but that had a very devout following of people who were reading the books. So that worked, but you couldn't say the same thing unless they kind of picked a series of David Gemmell books or whatever and tried to put them into production as a long-running TV show. Would it work? They don't know. They don't know. They don't have the first-hand experience of what is successful and what would make a successful show.
And even when they do, that takes them a while. I mean, Terry Pratchett's Discworld series has been undeniably successful. They still dug their heels in and refuse to make adaptations of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, all they do is Sky One crank out a 2-hour special every couple of years.
Yeah.
Stick David Jason in the main role and
That's
it's all
it.
good.
Yeah.
How about it?
Well, I've just introduced Megan to those, so we
Excellent.
just watched,
Good work, sir.
Yeah, we sat and watched Colour of Magic, and now we're halfway through The Hogfather.
Nice. I enjoyed Going Postal. That
We
was
watched
good.
Going Postal first,
Yeah.
which was weird, but then we went back and watched the others because they're on Love Film.
I think the issue is just that there's not the writers then, perhaps.
Well, I
original
still
minds.
think the writers are
It's
there.
there.
Yeah, I think
it's
they
the
are
film
there.
corporations
Yeah.
that are going, what's going to make us the quickest, fucking biggest bucks?
Bang for the buck.
Yeah.
Okay, so because we need to try and get to the bottom of it then. If the writers are still there, is it the fact that the studios are just using the same writers?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
Abrams is attached to everything
Yes,
nowadays.
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it time to look for talent that they haven't used before?
Yes.
I think yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They need to open it up more, and I think this is what a lot of these pilots and so forth on Love Film and on Netflix should be doing. They should be going out and sourcing new talent for the shows, not just relying on offshoots from other things like say Zombieland.
Remnants of collapsed
is an offshoot
other
of
shows.
the
Yes.
film, yeah. And I think it's because I know there are a lot of writers out there who spend a lot of time going out and pitching stories to people, and they don't get anywhere with them. So I think I remember, I don't know whether they still do it or not, but BBC used to run a contest called BBC Talent.
Yeah.
That was it was for several categories. There was kind of screenwriting categories and kind of finished production, direction, that kind of thing. Because I submitted something into that years and years ago. But that's a great idea for getting new people in, is to just have some kind of competition where you open it up and go, hey, come on, let's see what you can do.
Yeah.
And they should be doing more of that.
They should.
And trying to seek out
Yeah,
new,
instead of all
interesting
these
ideas.
fucking stupid dancing dogs and belly dancing
Oh,
babies.
Yeah,
you know,
fucking sick of normal
fuck
TV.
all that lot off and actually have something that's about creativity.
Yeah, I mean, I'd even go as far as saying, I would watch a show where they show sections of or even whole episodes of a show, and then you ring in and vote.
And then
Fucking
that
brilliant.
becomes a
Bring it
series
on, yeah.
that's produced
Yeah.
by whatever network is producing that show.
I can get behind.
Yeah.
It's
because
almost like
then that-
it would almost be like a televised version of Kickstarter.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, like Dragon's Den for TV shows or whatever. That I could get behind, and that is a way of the networks making a show for very little money, and then getting other shows out of it.
Yeah.
That's a potential way forward.
Just stop scraping through the fucking dry barrel when there's a whole fucking cellar full behind you.
Yeah. Because it is hard to stay faithful to the original when the cultural paradigm of the world has changed so much from that time.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's not just a case of digging up an old story and remaking it. You've got to be much more aware than there's more than just the story that you're telling.
Yeah, musically, ethically, fashionably.
And then, need to try and find then the next
The next
director,
generation.
because the people who told those stories have grown up with their audience, and they're still trying to pitch stories that their audience would like, but pitch them to a younger age, and there's just no connection there.
No.
So, I don't know, maybe this sort of logical reasoning is missed on the studio executives, and maybe they'll just finally twig with them and they'll realise, actually, we can't keep doing it. But sadly, I think they will.
I don't think there's going to be any immediate change. So I think that this new Amazon and Love Film approach is a step change towards it, a step in the right direction. But again, it's going to take time for this kind of thing to sink in, because it relies on the feedback of the audience, and there are those of us out there who will happily give that feedback, but then there's a load of people who just actually want to be spoon-fed their shows. And that's the problem.
Or they can carry on paying their TV license and watching BBC.
Exactly, yeah, indeed, yeah. They can watch the same show being rehashed over and over again. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, we whilst the musical interlude was playing, we went for a coffee and we had a quick chat about this, and we decided we needed to have a resolution, some sort of conclusion for this section. Is the conclusion, leave them alone?
Yes, leave them alone. Yeah. Otherwise, we'll hurt
leave them alone and move on to pastures newer and greener.
Pull your head out of your arse and actually look around and see the new stuff that's out there instead of just flicking through the fucking back catalogue.
And find writers who can relate to that teen market that you want to aim for. And
find a market and aim for it.
We're in a day and age where communities are out there online that you can just find them and you can see what they're looking at because they're voting for it and they're saying I like this and I like that, and people are promoting the stuff themselves.
Yes, by buying T-shirts of the things that they like and wearing them.
Yeah. So that it doesn't take a genius to go, if you want to see what people want to watch, fucking ask them.
Yeah. Get out of your blackout limo and fucking walk around. Speak to people.
And there we have it.
So yeah, that's my thoughts on it, sir.
Well, to be honest, we share the same thoughts on this. I think it is essentially just fuck off. Walk away from the remake plans. Do something original.
Or just don't do it at all.
Right. Well, that's about it for today.
And I'm spent.
I think we're all pretty exhausted after that.
Yeah.
Oh, the rage was strong with that one.
It was indeed.
The language was remarkably clean, I felt.
Was it? I don't think mine was.
I don't remember swearing that much. Did
really?
I don't know.
I did.
I don't know, I can't remember. Though we did that, we had an interview at work. There was an assessment panel, so they'd interviewed the students, and I was one of the students at the time. And there's 4 of us in a room giving our thoughts and our opinions on the college and everything. And one of the students was editing it together, and he said, "We had to edit most of your stuff out, Brendan." I was like, "Why?" And, "Because you swear a lot." I was like, "Really?"
Hand
What the fuck are you talking about, you little prick?
Hand on my heart, I had not realised I swore so much during the taping of that interview. So he played it back to me, and I was like, yeah, sure enough. I was just casually swearing constantly. So I have been trying to curb that and bring that back in a little bit.
To be fair, over the last 8 shows, I think we've all kind of
curbed the
swearing a bit. Yeah. I suppose it comes along with like getting the guests on and stuff like that. It's trying to have.
Oh, I'm definitely better behaved in front of the guests.
Yeah, but it's having that sense of professionalism over sort of crass and just.
To the point where you don't speak. I listened to the Bitterroot one. I barely heard you say one word.
I think I said hi.
I think at the end you were like, "Yeah, come up to the studio."
Yeah, come on, record you. Yeah. Yeah, well, I was mostly off screen for that as well.
Yes,
because we scoped them, and I wasn't on screen because I was trying to make sure that my levels were correct on
he
the.
was off in the corner fiddling.
Oh yeah, I was playing with my knobs in the corner, getting red lights. So yeah. Cool. Anyway, I think that's about it for the show. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for listening again, everyone.
Okay. Until next time, I've been Brendan.
I've been Spindles, I think.
And I'm Spent. And I'm 80.
You know the drill. Until next time, take care and be excellent to each other.